Okay, so this has been a very frustrating few days, I guess. I have actually made two different videos. One which was about the installation of the FuelX engine management system, and another which was me doing an oil change. And in both of those instances, I've been frustrated because I've used two cameras like I am now, and for some reason the footage has been just impossible to fuse together. I don't know if it's because I don't understand how multicam works in Final Cut Pro X, but I managed to do it the other day on a video and it was perfect. So anyway, I have actually been making content for the channel, but for one reason or another, it hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked in the way that I hoped. So I thought I would talk you through the two things that I did and the differences that I've discovered so far. And hopefully, even though you won't be able to actually see the installations, if you're thinking about either doing an oil change or installing the FuelX, then it will be helpful to you. So first things first, let me talk about the FuelX. So the FuelX was a fairly straightforward installation in the end. I was having to take the seat off and the side panels on my Interceptor 650 anyway, because I've been suffering with a bit of an intermittent stall on the bike. So it happened about a week ago. I accelerated up to a roundabout and then the bike just suddenly went dead for no reason. It wasn't particularly hot, just suddenly stopped. I have done the are they regulator changes? There's three regulators on one side of the bike which were Royal Enfield, and some of them had that grease just completely covered in grease. So I've already done that change. It's one of the first things I did actually when I got my bike, because I'd heard that that was an issue. So I knew it wasn't that. I knew the regulators were fine, and as a result I started wondering, well, what else could it be? And my instinct was that the battery was on its way out, because we've just had the winter in the UK. It's been very cold. I haven't really used my bike that much, so I opened up the bike, took the panels off, took the seat off, and then checked the voltage in the battery, which actually was perfectly fine. Started the bike up, everything's working as it should be. But what I did notice, two things. One was the rubber strap that holds the battery in was broken, is broken, so I need to get a replacement one of those. But secondly, the negative terminal wasn't particularly tight, so I've tightened that up and I've been out on a couple of rides and it hasn't done it since. Now that could be completely coincidental, because what I also did at the same time was fitted the FuelX engine management system. Is it engine management? I don't know. I fitted the FuelX to the bike, and that was pretty easy once I got my head around how it works. So if this is something you're looking to do, I bought my kit from Tech Bikes, I think. And what it involves is you do have to remove the fuel tank, which is pretty straightforward once you've done it once. Has 5 different connectors underneath it. You've got 2 breather pipes. You've got a fuel pump switch. You've got another pipe that goes to the actual fuel itself, and then right at the back, the last thing you do is a little green electrical switch, which then enables you to wiggle the tank and get the tank off. Once I'd done that, I obviously had the whole of the top of the bike bare, and I was able to route the new cables that needed to go to Lambda 1 and Lambda 2 at the front of the bike. Now, if you're thinking about doing this, it's very important to understand that Lambda 1 and Lambda 2 are, you have to get the ordering right. Lambda 1 is actually on the right hand side. So as you're sitting on the bike and you're looking down, Lambda 1 is the right hand side, Lambda 2 is the left hand side. So make sure you get that numbering right. But basically you just unplug the Lambda sensors, plug them into, plug one part of that Lambda sensor into the female end of the cable the new cable that you've got, and the other into the male end. Sort of just connect them up and then run that new cable through the frame under the seat. Be careful, don't put it over the seat because the seat has to wedge back on, and then the actual Fuel X device gets hidden somewhere near the back of the bike, and the black negative cable gets attached to the negative terminal of the battery. And then what you have to do is reassemble the bike and let the bike idle for around about 15 to 20 minutes just to allow the ECU of the bike to sort of figure out what's been going on, and you're in business. And so to answer the question, has it made a difference with the bike? Yes, I think it has. It seems to be smoother, it seems to tick over, a bit happier. It's probably using a little bit more fuel, but the overall feeling of the bike is much more accomplished. It just seems smoother through the gears, and yeah, I think it's worth the money. So if you're looking for a fairly easy upgrade to de-strangle the Euro 5 settings on the bike, then it's a good solution. So the oil change. The oil change was something that was a bit of a pain. It's a fairly easy job, but I couldn't find my size 14 spanner, so that was a nuisance. And it was also a little bit more complicated because underneath my bike I have a belly pan, and I had to take that off and then move the bracket. The front bracket of the belly pan actually was obstructing the oil filter. So I went with Castrol 1050 oil, fully synthetic. Costs quite a lot of money, but if you're going to do it, you might as well put in the best that you can, I think. And warmed the bike up first, and then undid the drain plug, which is right at the bottom of the bike. I think it's a size 10, and then unscrewed the oil filter once most of the oil had come out. Left it for a few minutes, cleaned everything up, and then with the new oil filter, this is sort of, some people do it, some people don't. You can either put it on as it is, or you can put a little bit of oil in there or fill it up. I'm not sure I'd recommend doing that. But what I did was I just put, I don't know, a third of the oil filter I filled with oil. Then you prime the top rubber seal, screw the thing back onto the bike, and then you're off and you can fill up the bike with oil, which I did. And then put everything back together, let the bike warm up a little bit, and then I took it for a run. And it was really nice to ride. I went for probably a half an hour, 40-minute ride out into the countryside here to the nearby town of Felixstowe, and it was great. It was fine, and now I know I've got a few thousand miles of riding before it probably needs to be done again. Now, because it's a fairly recent bike, it's 2023, it was rocking the original battery, I noticed when I took it apart. I'm not sure if it would have been the original oil filter. I'm thinking it probably wasn't, but it's due an MOT in August, its first MOT, and I'll probably have it serviced again at that point. Bear in mind, I've already got a DNA air filter, which has only been on for a few weeks really. So I do recommend, if you're going to do an oil change on your bike, change the oil, change the filter obviously, but also change the air filter at the same time, just so you know you're going to get everything clean and restored, and then your bike is going to be ready to go for the new season. So yeah, pretty easy in the end. Just took a while just because I didn't have the right tools. The only question mark that I have really is around the oil filter itself, putting it back on, because on the box it says you should torque it. Firstly, it's not that easy to get to. It's sort of tucked away in between what look like some water pipes. I guess they're water pipes for the radiator. It's slightly obstructed, which makes it harder. But second of all, I think you need a tool to do it, and I don't have that tool. Maybe there's probably a special tool that you can use to make sure that the oil filter is at the correct tension. I just did it as hard as I could. I gripped it as much as I could, and that seemed to really do the trick. So overall, happy to have done that, and happy to have been able to use the bike whilst we've had a little bit of dry weather, which, let's be honest, if you live in the UK, hasn't really been forthcoming. I am planning to do a video on my sat-nav, which is a Beeline Moto 2, which you've probably seen plastered all over YouTube. Tiny little sat-nav with an OLED screen, but I want to do a proper journey to give that a decent test. So as soon as I've done that, I will post a video online and let you know what I think, in case you're in the market. Anyway, that's just a quick update from me. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And in the meantime, happy riding, keep safe on the roads, keep the rubber side down and the rider side up, and I'll see you on the next video.